You can build a business, you can lead a team, you can have the house, the money, the freedom, and still feel alone. Why? Because we were never taught how to connect. Not really. We were taught how to look fine, how to smile, how to stay busy, how to say, I'm good, even when we're not. But the more we hide behind I'm fine, the lonelier we become. Because people can't stay connected to your mask. They can only connect to you. So today we're exploring something success doesn't prepare us for. Why relationships get harder the more you succeed. I'm Daniela Luján, the regenerative queen. I started my career in architecture thinking sustainability was about buildings and design, but I realized the foundation we'd been missing was consciousness. Every structure we build outside comes from the one we hold inside. Regeneration begins with being, not doing. This podcast is where I help you remember that, to rebuild your world from truth, love, and real human connection. And if that speaks to you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss these heart-centered conversations about life, leadership, and wholeness. Let's be honest, nobody taught us how to be real, how to have real conversations. We learned by watching. We saw how our parents fought or stayed silent, how our friends gossiped, how teachers raised their voices or shut down. That's how we learned what love and safety look like. It's how our nervous system got programmed. So when we grow up and avoid hard talks, it's not weakness, it's just habit. What we learned is that speaking up causes problems. Problems cause pain, and silence keeps the peace. So we stay nice, we nod, we smile, we say, it's all good, even when it's not. But what happens with this? All that unspoken stuff builds up, and one day it explodes. That's why so many strong people feel tired and alone, because they are surrounded by people, but no one really knows them. You can't connect with someone if you're busy pretending to be okay. And here's the thing, connection often feels harder than business, especially for people who are really good at achieving. Because in business, we learn control. We solve problems, we set goals, we manage outcomes. But connection doesn't follow those rules. You can't spreadsheet your way to intimacy. You can't KPI your way to feeling seen. Connection asks for the opposite of control. It asks for presence, for vulnerability, for listening without fixing. And that's scary for high performers, because the same habits that makes us successful are the ones that make us guarded. We're trained to perform, not to feel, to lead, not to receive, to talk, not to truly listen. That's why connection gets harder, because it requires a different kind of strength, not the one that wins, the one that softens. There are ways to relearn connection, to come back to the simple truth of being human. Tools that help you slow down, notice your emotions, and express them clearly, without shame, defense, or performance. For some, it's nonviolent communication. It's one of the first tools I learned. For others, it's somatic work, therapy, breath, inner parts work, or simply the practice of slowing down enough to feel. They all point to the same thing: learning to speak from what is real instead of what is safe. Because connection doesn't start in conversation. It starts in awareness. When you understand what's happening inside you, you finally have a chance to be seen for who you truly are, for what is really happening within you. And when a leader learns to do that, to stay open while staying strong, everything changes. Because softening doesn't make you less powerful. It makes you complete. The leaders who know how to soften don't lose their edge. They lead with their whole being. They can hold vision with clarity and people with compassion at the same time. That's mastery, not control, coherence, not dominance, depth. When you can soften without collapsing and stand firm without closing, you stop managing people and start inspiring trust. That's the next evolution of leadership, because connection is not the opposite of power. It's what gives it purpose. So here's a practice to start embodying that. Before your next conversation, pause and notice your breath. Notice your posture. Can you drop your shoulders just a little? Can you slow your tone by 5%? Then, instead of leading with what you know, try leading with what you feel. That's how control softens into connection. Real leadership isn't just about moving things forward. It's about healing the relationship between people, purpose, and place. If this episode hits something real, share it with someone who's growing beside you. That's how regeneration happens, not just in nature, but in how we live, lead, and relate. Follow the show for more conversations on rebuilding the inner architecture of your life, where love, awareness, and courage become the blueprint for everything you build. I'm Daniela Luján, and thanks for listening. Stay open, stay kind, and keep practicing connection.